It all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Boy, we had a jam-packed New Orleans. Thank you, number 9. A jam-packed Thursday afternoon. Coming up in about 9. Normally, Ellis joins us with Quin Hillyer. Ellis couldn't do it in the 5 o'clock hour, so in about 90 seconds. But right-leaning conservative, right-leaning Quin Hillyer will join us in the 5 o'clock power hour. So Ellis Henican, normally it's Hillyer and Henican, right-leaning Quin, left-leaning Ellis, on together. But because of a conflict with those guys, we're splitting them up. Left-leaning Ellis Henican coming up. 5 o'clock powwow, right-leaning Quin Hillyer. Bradley Schneller, stacked coaching, a lot coming your way. 61 and sunny, so nice outside. Tomorrow, kind of a rinse and repeat. Start off in the mid-40s and creep on up into the 60s. On Saturday, we might hit 68 degrees. And then on Sunday, we might get down to 33. It's a wintry mix for New Orleans next week. Monday, we start off at 29 degrees. Tuesday, there could be snow in our forecast. 30 is the low, 38 is the high next Tuesday. Wednesday, 28 degrees to start the day. Thursday, 34 degrees to start the day. Yeah, for New Orleans, a wintry mix. For Ellis Henican up in Manhattan, it's business as usual in the wintertime up there. What's happening, Ellis? How are you doing?
61 and sunny, but then I realized you were getting on to next week where it's almost as bad as New York.
Yep. You got to deal with what's the usual winter duration in New York, like December through like March?
Yeah, I would say by March it's starting to thaw out a little bit. Listen, first of all, I don't think it's as cold here as it was when I first moved here. I mean, I don't know. We could debate about the causes of it, but we don't get as much snow as we used to. But yeah, we get some cold days, and we've had a cold snap right now. It's like 20, I think 29 out today right now.
Yep. How'd you learn to adjust to that as a Southern boy from New Orleans 40 years ago, Ellis?
I just stayed inside. I mean, and buy one pair of good long johns.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Not the kind we had as kids, the waffle kind. I mean, the ones that are like the fake silk, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
The thin ones.
Yeah, not the waffle kind like when we were kids. Yeah, exactly. That's great. Hey, Ellis, anything going on in your life, professional life, as far as books? Anything you can talk about? What's going on?
Well, I mean, I've been cranking. I had a very busy 24. It made me look productive. I had the Tom Selleck book, and I had the Fred Trump book, the disloyal Trump relative, and another thing about the Americans held hostage abroad. And so I've been just kind of taking bows off of that and trying to rev up a couple of new things. But those are the things that are out there that people can buy.
Folks can find out about all of that and everything you're up to at Henican.com, right?
Yeah. In fact, I redesigned the site recently, so it's kind of snappy looking. Check it out.
No more gambling on it. I can't play spets. What the hell?
How am I going to make any money at this? I don't know.
It's Henican, Henican.com. Ellis Henican's with us. Ellis, normally it's a Hillyer and Henican deal going, but you couldn't do the 5 o'clock hour, and Quin couldn't do the 4 o'clock, so I had to separate you guys.
I love being on with Quinn, but you and I can keep it moving, I'm sure.
Yep. Hey, Monday's a big day, Ellis. The peaceful transition of power is something that's expected in America. It shouldn't be a pat on the back or you get a gold star for normal. But in your opinion, is it a day for the country, or is that question not even applicable?
Well, listen, you know I'm not a Trump fan, so I mean, I can't say that I'm thrilled about some of the things that are coming up, or some of these cabinet secretaries that are now being grilled by some people in the Senate. So no, I have some concerns about it for sure. But you're right. It is worth celebrating the idea that we really can transfer power from one side to another after a bitter and angry, hard-fought campaign. It is a good thing that the side that's departing is willing to step aside and let the winners. And yes, Donald Trump won this election. Let the winners go see what they can do. I think that's a good thing.
Hey, what are you expecting out of the Trump presidency?
It's so hard to predict. I would say I'm probably agreeing with some of the common wisdom out there, which is that this will be more of a case of Trump unbound than the first term. The cabinet secretaries that he's putting in, some of the people who seem like they're mainly there to say yes. Whereas last time a lot of the folks who were in there ended up saying, no, you can't do that, Mr. President. That's not legal, or that doesn't make any sense, or that's going to alienate our enemies. I don't think the crew that's around him right now is likely to say no about many things. The thing that does give me some hope is that some of the things that I'm most concerned about, I think are never going to happen. I mean, I don't think deportation of tens of millions of people, the economy can't handle it.
Right.
It would be not only inhumane, but it would be economically disastrous. I think the same thing is true.
And logistically impossible, Ellis.
Yeah,
financially
if you could pay for it. Think about what would that do, naming the industry. What would that do to the construction industry? What would that do to the agricultural industry? What would that do to the food processing industry, the restaurant business? I mean, the landscaping businesses across the country. I mean, listen, you and I and all of your listeners understand that is the dirty work that is mostly done by fresh immigrants in this country, many of whom are not here legally.
I call a lot of that Trump talk, which I guess means BS. We'll build a wall. Mexico is going to pay for it. All these things sound fantastic, but in the olden days, a politician would be accused of, acting like a 12-year-old saying things like this that aren't true. But Donald Trump says a lot of it. His backers tend to know what he's, they can translate his talk. He meant that. Oh, he was kidding about that. He didn't really mean he was going to do that. It works out perfectly. But with that said, Ellis, what are you expecting him to do? Because I'm in agreement. I don't think the big ticket items that kind of got him elected, I don't think a lot of that stuff's going to happen. But I think a lot of little things are going to happen, and they add up to significant changes, right?
Yeah, that is true. So here's my basic analysis. I think that inflation played an oversized role in this election. I think that really what most Americans care about is not enemies lists or crazy, off the wall ideas about invading Panama and Greenland and making Canada the 51st state. People don't care about that. I don't think any of it's going to happen. But I do think people would like prices to come down. And it'll be really interesting, and maybe one of the first tests of the Trump administration is, can he do that? What I've seen in the economic plans seem to me to have the opposite effect. Major tax cuts for corporations and billionaires, tariffs on American goods, which will only raise prices for Americans. So, I don't know if that stuff's going to happen. He's certainly got the support of the Senate and the House right now. It's very narrow, but I think he's got it. And so we'll just have to see whether those things happen. But Americans are going to judge him by the results. I think you're right. The rhetoric, people have gotten very cynical about political rhetoric. But I think people are very keen on results. And people want the new administration to do some stuff. And we'll know pretty soon whether these things are working.
Ellis Henican is with us. Ellis, we got about 30 seconds before the break. Like Trump or not, don't we need to shake things up a little bit, make some changes? And it's hard for the status quo to make significant changes. If there's a silver lining, even for the anti-Trump folks, it's that maybe by accident, default, just so many changes that there'll be some good coming from it.
Yeah, listen, I'm an optimist. I understand people like change, want change. That people are frustrated about various things in their lives and in their country. And you know what? Do good stuff, and I think a lot of Dems will support it.
Yep.
So I don't like this personal animosity. I want good stuff to happen.
Yep.
If it's happening, I'll be right there saying yay.
Hey, we're coming right back. More with Ellis Henican.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our... The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce fire our children and drive generational change. Join at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Glasses that everyone else is wearing stand out from the crowd. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses, gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
For innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox Latrim Company changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a Big Ten burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter. Get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
Thoughtful conversation, common sense. Corey Johnson.
With all due respect, Mr. Dennis, I had no idea you've gotten experimental surgery to have your removed.
Live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
What was that? Oh, I said with all due respect.
It's a Thursday afternoon. That means it's a Thursday afternoon at Katie's in Mid-City. They are rolling, heading into the weekend. You never know what chef owner Scott Craig's going to have in there. Flounders, soft-shell crabs, pompano. As New Orleans as it gets, a Mid-City mainstay. Iberville, corner Telemachus, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant, Katie's in Mid-City. Ellis Henican's with us. Left-leaning Ellis Henican joins us from Manhattan. What a great city that is. I'll tell you what, Ellis, I was up there in early September, first time in a few years. Two things that stood out. I mean, I love Manhattan. Three things. Love it. It's fantastic. It's great. At my age, I was like, man, you need to be 25 and eating pizza and living in a shoebox or making a lot of money, making a lot of money. Second thing I noticed, every day somebody must get hit or even killed on a scooter or electric. Couldn't believe the amount of those things zipping around Manhattan. And then sadly, and I don't care if you smoke or not, I swear, it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with that. Just sadly for like grandma and the kids, boy, it just reeks of weed all over the street of Manhattan. Those are three observations, Ellis.
I think you're on point with all three of them. The bike maniacs, mostly delivery people, because so much of our culture, as you know, is people get stuff brought to their homes, whether it's food or groceries or whatever. And so there's a whole army of people on electric bikes zooming around, and you do have to kind of be a little careful. Look in both directions. I think the weed thing may be easing a little bit. These now stores you can go to, dispensaries, we call them, and buy legal pot. And I think when they first opened, there were a lot of people kind of standing outside, testing the wares. That may be fading just a little bit, but it's everyone I think pretty much agrees it's silly to send people to prison for smoking a joint. I mean, I think most people, wherever you're politically, we regulate it. How do you sell it? You certainly can't smoke in a restaurant or a bar, but so I guess some people end up on the curb.
Boy, for a while there, Ellis, the rest of the world caught up to like Manhattan skyline wise, especially like in the Middle East, in parts of Asia, you're like, wow, there's the modern skyline. That's what, we're looking at that like the rest of the world used to look at New York in the 70s and 80s and what have you. So it was sort of like the same skyline for a while. Now, Manhattan skyline has dramatically changed in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. These little skinny buildings, the little waffle building, those apartments that, sit on like, 100 feet by 100 feet and just go straight up into the sky. That east side, that whole compound. I mean, more buildings built there than all of Metro New Orleans has. And that's just one little part of Manhattan, billions invested. The skyline's changing. It's a lot of tall buildings popping up all over Manhattan.
No, that is true. Listen, there's a lot of money here.
Yeah.
A lot of it is international money. It's not only Americans and New Yorkers. But you push your finger, what to me is really the one bad thing about New York. I love New York. I've lived in New York a long time. I mean, I'm still pulled back to New Orleans, but the cost of housing is pretty shocking. And no matter how well you're doing, you can feel broke in a hurry when you have to either rent or buy real estate in New York. I mean, it is just really expensive. I don't know how it works today with these ambitious young people like me years ago who moved to New York in pursuit of a dream. How does it work to be an actress and a waitress and live in New York today? I don't know how people do it.
No,
I guess people do. But let me tell you, it's pretty tough.
Especially like for 35 plus. I mean, if you're 25, you deal with it. You live in a shoebox and eat pizza, like I said. But you start getting up in age a little bit, 35, 40, 45, 50, and you're waiting tables trying to, bust in as an actor. No, that's.
People do not want to be doing that in their 40s. A lot of New Orleans friends who came up here for a couple of years and then went home. You know, they said, listen, this is great. I love doing it. I met a lot of people. I got some opportunity. I broadened myself. But you know what? Life is kind of makes a little more sense in a place like New Orleans. I'm much more
30, 40 years from now, Ellis, I'm going to be up there visiting, and you and your wife are going to be holding hands, walking through Central Park in the snow. Resident.
Truth is, I've been spending one more time in New Orleans. I mean, I like being in New Orleans. I don't. What the hell did I leave for? Sometimes I forget. You know.
It might have been that 20 plus years of the Subway series, and you know.
I don't know, but no, listen. They're both. I've been very lucky. They're both amazing cities, and you know what? I'll tell you one other thing they have in common. People complain. People who live there complain about them all the time. Right?
Yep.
When I'm in New Orleans, all my New Orleans friends are complaining about New Orleans. I'm like, hey, you know what? It's pretty nice here. And all my New York friends are the same way. They all complain about New York all the time.
We have very similar cities, international cities. That Yaddy accent, the Brooklyn accent, sort of the same because it's those Irish German immigrants from the late 1800s. Large black population, just a gumbo divert.
I don't need to tell you. I mean, listen, you run a talk show in New Orleans. I mean, people complain, even people who love it. They like to complain about it. I mean, It's just part of being a New Orleanian, right?
Yep, no doubt. Hey, Israel-Hamas ceasefire. I mean, nothing substantial yet going on, but obviously some positive news.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. And let me tell you, I wish it had happened 6 months ago.
Yep.
My heart goes out to those hostages and their families who have. I believe that the Palestinians will never make any progress as long as Hamas is in charge there. And the second part is a little more controversial, but I think the Israelis need a new government too. I think that if you want peace in this region, if you want people to get along, you got to have governments that want to get along. And I don't think we have it on either side at the moment.
Yep. No. Bill Clinton can try to revive what he had going 30 years ago. Hey, will that, not directly, but indirectly, that just how the world's working now, Trump coming on board, will it lead to maybe Russia, Ukraine seeing a ceasefire?
I don't know. I'm a little nervous about that one. Trump promised to end the war on day one. I don't think that's going to happen. And listen, it'd be great to find a way to get some peace, but it can't just be surrender. I mean, it can't just be the fighting people of Ukraine who have every right to have their own country to just be forced to let Russia run over them. So, I don't know. I think it may go a while longer. I hate to say it, but I think that may happen.
Yeah, I don't think the rest of the world wants to see Russia take to Ukraine. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. The Supreme Court may decide the TikTok ban tomorrow, Ellis. All right, I'm not on TikTok deliberately. I don't watch that unless it's an indirect thing. I'm just clicking on some video and it happens to be TikTok. But, yeah, you just chime, basically. I don't care if TikTok's there or not, personally.
Now, I'm kind of with you. I'm not an active TikTok user, which probably shows that you and I are getting older. I don't know.
Yep.
But the politics of it are interesting, right? Because there was a overwhelmingly bipartisan vote in both houses of Congress in a new law that says that they got to be owned by Americans if they can continue to operate. But now Trump seems to be kind of deal here. I don't think we know exactly what's going to happen. Maybe Elon Musk with it somehow, but there's maneuvering going on that's going to play itself out pretty quickly, I think.
Ellis, you were just talking about how folks in New Orleans, New York, critical of their city, love it, yet critical. I do talk radio, TV. It'd be easy to pounce on this topic. Some politicians did it. Some media folks did it. Some local law firms are suing the city. I don't think New Orleans did anything wrong when this terrorist attack happened. I think could happen any place, anywhere, anytime, anywhere in America. Most Americans realize that and know New Orleans did nothing wrong. Am I wrong saying that?
Corey, I got to tell you, I agree with you. And I don't think many people do, because in a time like this, people want somebody easy to blame.
Yep.
So it's the polls that should have been up on Bourbon. Listen, you cannot, in an open society, lock everybody down, and even if you could, you wouldn't want to. Tell me, by the way, how on earth are you going to run Mardi Gras if you don't let people come and go? It's just part of the cost of living in an open, free society. Yeah. Do you try to make efforts to protect people? Absolutely. Do you use intelligence as well as you can? Absolutely. But you are lying to people if you say we can protect you. And by the way, if you can protect them on one street, the bad guys go to the next street. I think it's deceptive, and I think we ought to be more open and honest about it.
Ellis, about 30 seconds. I don't know if you can cram it all in that short of a time. Last question. What's Biden's legacy, and what did Biden do right, and what did he do wrong?
Well, listen, the border hurt him. Unlock on inflation. I don't think he did anything wrong there, but he lived with that. But I think his legacy is a lot better than people are thinking right now. He improved dramatically our relations with our allies. He pulled us out of COVID in a smart way. He made the economy of the United States the envy of the world. He finally did something about infrastructure that nobody could do anything about for a long time. He dealt with the beginnings of climate. I think history may treat him better than politics did. Oh, and he was too old at the end. It would have been better if he bowed out after one term and said, you know what, I did my job here. Let the next politics take it from here. We'd have all been better off, I think.
Ellis, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Good to see you, buddy.
Check him out at Henican.com. Coming right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 airy locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Woodhouse Spa.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? No further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moved Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By rail and by road, no matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 5 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter on the phone at Audubon Gutters.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
You can say anything you please about me, but don't say anything bad about Blue Boy.
Down, Blue Boy. Good buddy.
Yeah, you right. Thursday afternoon edition of the program. Corey Johnson with you. Like 61 degrees and sunny. What a beautiful afternoon. Get outside and enjoy it. Well, I get this guy on every week a little after 4:30. Every Thursday a little after 4:30. He knows about nutrition. He knows about fitness. He's passionate about it. He lives it every day, walks the walk, talks the talk. He's got a great gym, Stacked Gym, over there on River Road at Arnold. Stacked Coaching. It's his baby. Bradley Schneller joins us on the program again. And what up, Bradley?
What's up, Corey? Speaking about living it, I'm just getting my steps in right now while we chat on the radio.
Wow. How many steps you got to knock out a day?
15,000.
Wow.
Now, I set a goal for 2025 to average 15,000 a day because I felt like towards the end of 2024, I got a little lazy with my activity factor. And then I also thought that 15,000 steps per day is not a realistic goal because life happens. It might rain all day. And I really don't want to set myself up to fail right from the beginning. That's an important thing to remember when you're setting goals, whether it be fitness, nutrition, professional, family, any type of goals like that. So averaging 15,000 steps a day is more realistic.
I don't know, honestly, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I don't know if I've set like goals or things. I must have set them unconsciously because, I've kind of stuck with your program. I started out like 3 days a week. Within a month, like last March, I was like, this isn't enough. And then by April, I was including Saturdays and I was like 4 days isn't enough. And I've upped it to like five plus even. And I've stuck with it. And I don't know. I don't have like step goals or counting calories or any of that stuff. So I don't know. It's sort of weirdly worked for me, Bradley, by osmosis. I don't know how, man. I'm just appreciative.
Subconsciously or unconsciously, you have set goals because you have said it to me. I'm trying to make this many classes per week, and you have kept with it. So kudos to you. Everything you've ever said to me about what you're going to do, what you're going to accomplish, and even from a nutrition standpoint, I pay attention to what you said. And it's like you switched your steaks, you're cutting down on your M&Ms, all these types of things, and you stuck with it and lived it, man. So pat yourself on the back. You might not be able to do it anymore because you're gaining all those muscles in your back and your biceps.
Bradley Sneller's with us from Stacked Coaching. What is Stacked, Bradley? Why that name and what does that mean?
Yeah, so the name comes from habit stacking. We're big believers of setting foundational habits, not only in nutrition, but in exercise, or more, we'll call it healthy lifestyle habits, whether it's steps, sleep, hydration, stuff in your nutrition, eating at 80% full, activity per day, strength training per week, all these little things that we want you to do on a daily, weekly basis and getting better at it one at a time, and then stacking another one on top of it the next week, the next month, the next quarter, those types of things, where we want you to master each individual small task before we give you another one.
Hey, before we go on, two things you just slipped in there. 80% full. Did you say eat slow and distracted?
Undistracted.
Now, what does that mean? Eat slow and undistracted.
Yeah, so it takes a certain amount of time, 20 to 30 minutes, for your brain to recognize whether you are full or not. So if you eat fast, it is really easy to overeat, which is a problem for most people.
Me.
And so if you're not actively tracking your calories, you're not actively or have knowledge of what the portion size on your plate should look like, then this is a way for your brain to recognize when you're full. And for people, if you pay attention to these cues, you can live a relatively healthy lifestyle and maintain what I would call a healthy weight. Now, that healthy weight is relative, but if you watch kids, okay, this is really interesting. Kids know when they're full. And so oftentimes parents, grandparents condition them to ignore that. And that is what often happens to adults. Adults are conditioned to overeat from their youth when their parents are telling them, you know, hurry up and eat, you're taking too long, or make sure you finish your entire plate. Kids know when they're full.
That's interesting. That really is. You know, the eat slow and undistracted, I like it from your perspective. And also, I just happened to read something like a few weeks ago, like some Japanese proverb, and it was about just having, you know, healthy lifestyle. And it was, you know, take a bite and put the chopsticks down and savor the bite. Eat slowly and savor it. Don't just be shoveling food down your mouth. And I just shovel food down my mouth. So, and I ignore the 80% full thing. You know, I take like 10 more bites of food at the end, and I should have stopped 10 bites ago. So that might be a goal for me for 2025, 80% full and eat slow.
Putting the chopsticks down is a tool, right? Like other tools that help you eat slow would be eating with your opposite or your non-dominant hand. You know, putting your fork down, take 10 bites. You can even like set a timer and say, I'm going to eat for 20 minutes. You know, all of these types of things are different ways to help create the habit of eating slowly, because it's something most of us have to break.
Yep. No, it's hard for me. I should shovel it down. I haven't swallowed the first fork full of food. It's like maybe 80% of it. There's like 20% left, and I'm shoveling in another full bite of food in my mouth. It's like, maybe you could finish the existing bite, Corey, before you stuff more in there. Bradley, how did you get into fitness? What got you into this?
Yeah, so I was overweight most of my life. I mean, I remember in 5th grade not wanting to go to pool parties. You know, I also remember like as early as 3rd or 4th grade, I had a girlfriend who, if I recall, she's a pretty good looking girl in the grade over at St. Francis Xavier over on Metairie Road. And my friends used to call her, I forgot the name, but it was something about how she would love my love handles.
Wow.
And it was so jarring, you know? And so I grew up with a lack of self-confidence, you know, and I overcompensated by trying to be overly funny or very personable or make people laugh, make fun of myself, be self-deprecating, all these things, to have a personality that people enjoyed to be around.
Brad, we were talking about you, not me, but go on.
Yeah. So I would do all these things to create a space for myself at the metaphorical table of life, you know? But I was unhappy about it. So like you spend a lot of time seeking external validation when you're unhappy about your physical appearance, or you don't feel a certain way about yourself, you know? And so I was actually playing soccer and I tore my ACL, my MCL, fractured tibia, and I wasn't some great high school soccer player. I didn't learn how to play soccer until I was in an intramural rec league at LSU. And then I decided to play an adult. Someone sprinted at me, blew up my leg. But the physical therapy of going 3 times a week to rehab that ignited this love of working out. And so shout out to Lee Currett over at South Shore Physical Therapy. But he started this entire thing for me. And I often reach out to him and tell him, like, hey, man, like, I have coached over, 1,000 people in health and fitness. And a lot of that is due to what you did to me. And being around you created a love of fitness for myself. And from there, I learned more about nutrition and, it changed my life. And because of that, I wanted to change other people's lives.
Now, Bradley, we're about to run out of time. So this is some homework for next week. I know you could just answer it right away. But I want the audience to hear the question, and they'll come back next Thursday looking for your answer. What makes Stacked Coaching, your gym, different from CrossFit or some of these other gyms? We'll talk about that. And you just mentioned it. It's fitness and nutrition. It's not one or the other. It's both with you. We'll talk more about that next week. Hey, if folks have questions, want to find out more about your gym, want a consultation with you, want to join your gym, how do they do any of this stuff?
Yeah, man, they can go to our website, www.stackedcoaching.com. That's STACKED coaching.com. Coaching, unlike what Dennis Allen did with the Saints. And you can also reach out to us on Instagram at Stacked Coaching. And just shoot us a DM.
Bradley, thanks so much, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
That's Bradley Schneller, stackedcoaching.com. Check out the website. No, it's a game changer, and it's a great environment. It's a class full of people all on the same page. I've been going there about 10 months. You know what's the most amazing part about it besides, being able to continue to do it because, there's a motivation with the group and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, leading up to the presidential election, working out there on Election Day Tuesday, I'm telling you, I've never heard the word Biden, Harris, Trump ever mentioned in that gym, ever. Not once, not one time. No politics, no religion, yet everybody's happy. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's working towards the same goal. Check it out, stackedcoaching.com. Corey Johnson with you.
Hey, New Orleans, if you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision. Now, we fix cars and trucks. We do all models, and it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
It's a New Orleans institution. They've been at it since 1940. If you're tired of your dry cleaner and want to experience the best, Young's Dry Cleaning, walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery, manless locker locations spread out all over the metro, maybe right under your nose where you live or work and you didn't even know it. To find out more about the best, youngsdrycleaning.com, youngsdrycleaning.com. Speaking about the best, came down here about 35 years ago, 35 plus years ago. Figured he'd come down here for a couple of weeks and help out New Orleans and Louisiana. We aren't too good with animals. We don't treat animals humanely. Dog fighting, cock fighting, plus not enough shelters. Half the parishes, 64 parishes, more than half don't even have any type of shelter at all. The other half that do, half of those shelters are a joke. The back end of town, some chain link fencing with a blue tarp roof, almost, worthless, inhumane. No, he came down 35 plus years ago to help us out, and he's never left. And sadly, although he has marched the team down the field a lot in 35 plus years, the field has gotten wider and longer and hasn't crossed the goal line. Still so much to do. Anderson joins us from the Humane Society of Louisiana. What's happening, Jeff?
Boy, that was a pretty good introduction. You summed it up really well, as you always do. Just the I'm surprised the way you talk. It's like, wow, we really haven't moved the dial much. And that's a real shame because a couple of us have been working our hearts out, but we're still going to give it our all. I'm saying I'm halfway done. But everything you said was accurate. Sources people, and people not doing a good job of providing basic care for the pets that they say they care about. Chained to trees, no shelter, or one of those funky plastic carriers. Who wants to live in that?
Hey, Jeff,
best, but everybody needs to pitch in if we really want to make a significant change. And Corey, a 10-year plan that we've mapped out, what will take to basic improvements around the state.
That's genius.
Next conversation, I'll fill you and your listeners in more on that.
No, that's genius. I love that. A real plan. 10 years to get Louisiana right with animals.
Yep, it's a holistic, comprehensive legislation, more resources, targeting places that need our help the most, getting elected officials on board, all the shareholders, taking a look that this is not something that's going to go away. It's not something to ignore. It's part of our community that we have to do better if we want to be call ourselves civilized. Well, it starts with how we treat each other and our animals, and it's not that complicated, really. You and I both know that.
Well, I can tell you this, Jeff. You're Drew Brees. Lots of big plays, lots of explosive offensive plays. You've driven the ball down the field. But, yeah, the field, and with the neglect and the kind of absentee mentality, the field's gotten wider and longer. But, no, you're saving north of 1,000 animals every year, the Humane Society. North of 1,000 a year. You've been doing it for 35 years. I mean, it's tens of thousands of dogs and cats and kittens and puppies and possums and horses and pigs and goats, that livestock that you've saved over those 3.5+ decades. So, yeah, you're the man, Jeff. Don't sell yourself short. It's any other state, any other place, they'd have a statue and the problem would be solved. But in Louisiana, it's tough. I mean, 35 years, the last few years, you've been getting political, trying to go to the Capitol and get these people to see it. Now you got this 10-year plan. That's just the savvy and experience and age of you doing this that you're figuring out how to cross the goal line. No, it just sucks in Louisiana. It's not a major concern with this. And we need to make it a major concern because we suck at it. We're not good at it.
Well, everything you said is, again, on point. And we're reaching out to bigger players, of course, the Gail Bensons, the Todd Graves, who founded the chicken place. We need people who are serious stakeholders who can really make a difference. What would it be like to have a statewide shelter or 4 of them? We got to think bigger and better, and we can do it. I mean, some of these nonprofits, of millions. We're barely hitting 1 million after all this time, which is not that much when we're a statewide organization with 10 on staff. Nobody in our group makes more than $45K, which isn't, that's barely livable in these inflationary times. But we do it because we care.
No, that's true. Anybody that's ever dealt with the Humane Society of Louisiana, maybe with Jeff himself, you obviously see that. They care. They're concerned about the animals. It breaks their heart. They're passionate about it. No, I'm surprised that you've still been at it for 35 years. All the trauma you've seen, Jeff, you don't have PTSD. I swear, man. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's some of the stuff I've seen, and it's 1% of 1% of 1% of what you've seen is just heartbreaking. You want people to donate. They can do it monthly. They can do one big check. They can do a little bit, whatever. HumaneLA.org, right?
It is that. And we have to grow our base. So if you're thinking about it, now's the time. There's no other reason not to. $10, $20 a month goes a long way. Why? Because we're frugal. Nobody's making a big profit, unlike some charities, which I'm not really pleased about. I don't know why they pay themselves first and then pay whatever's left over for the programs. We do it in reverse. Programs first, people second. So anyway, yes, and look at us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We try to get the word out. We'd love your help. You got a skill? Tell us about it. We'll put you to work. And become a monthly donor. It's called Defender Circle. You get a monthly update so you can track what's happening.
Oh, boy. There's someone that approves. He's giving you a thumbs up, a paws up, Jeff.
I like Blue Boy, and I like his daddy.
Yeah, I like Blue Boy, too. Jeff, thanks, brother.
We'll talk again, and I'll keep you updated. 10-year plan. It's going to happen.
That sounds great. HumaneLA.org. Go to the website now and donate. HumaneLA.org.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. 0809 Dave Miet, insagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504.
Here at the we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at Young's Dry.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision engineering and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as you need.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for good, and we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of it.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. At Audubon Gutters, install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans Day Spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations. Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here delivering Louisiana's future. At the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. 5 o'clock power hour on a Thursday is upon us. Corey Johnson with you. Get outside right now. That's an order. Bring the program with you via YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get that bad boy on your smartphone, tablet, pad, computer, laptop, whatever. Take it with you. Get outside. Here's Drew Brees. Oh, number 9. Thank you, Drew, for the intro. 60 degrees, sunny, heading towards nighttime. So nice outside. Maybe drop the coals. Do some grilling and some chilling. Tomorrow, kind of a rinse and repeat of today, starting out in the high 40s and get into the low 60s. Sweet. We might hit 68 degrees on Saturday. 68. Enjoy it. Learn it. Love it. Live it. Because Sunday night, it might be like 33, like less than half of 68. Cutting that temperature in half from Saturday to Sunday, 33 on Sunday night. Monday morning, we wake up to 29 degrees. Tuesday, potentially a snow day for New Orleans. It'd be the first time in a while. Tuesday, 30 is the low, 38 is the high on Tuesday. We don't get out of the 30s. Wednesday, we barely make it out of the 30s, starting at 28 degrees on Wednesday and peak out at 43. Thursday, 34 degrees. That Sunday night through Thursday midday, friggin' cold. Monday, 29. Tuesday, 30. Wednesday, 28. Thursday, 34. That's brutal for these parts, right? Friday's 44 to 56. Saturday, warming up into the mid-60s. That's not this Saturday, the following Thursday, after next week's brutal wintry mix. Yeah, this coming Sunday night through like next Wednesday through next Thursday, brutally cold in the Crescent City. Basically all of next week, brutally cold. Hey, I got 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse if you'd like it. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. The last time we had snow in New Orleans. It's been a while. The last time we had snow in New Orleans. 766-9480. I think that's when I lived down in the middle of a parking lot, which is now like the South Market District. A whole new neighborhood. When I first moved down there, it was me and about a dozen people that lived within a few blocks of me. Like a dozen. Now there's like 1,000 people, 2,000 people that live in that neighborhood. Maybe, more. Maybe more than a couple of thousand. That's my went from 0 to 60 pretty fast. When was the last time it snowed in the Crescent City, New Orleans proper? Last week, only Louisiana and Florida did not have snow. Every other state in America, including Hawaii, had snow. Not Louisiana, not Florida. 48 out of 50. We might get into the snow groove on Tuesday. Maybe. This is just a shame. This is sinful. This is embarrassing for us. It isn't right. It isn't right. Simple as that. UNO is going to furlough 375 employees. They have a $10 million shortfall. The sad part is the furloughs only account for like $2 million. You think the state, the city, donations from some rich philanthropist types could come up with a few $1 million and save 375 jobs at UNO? UNO should be an economic engine for the city. UNO should be a monster. Think of like Central Florida and South Florida, these universities in the state of Florida and Tampa and Orlando, respectively. They're like 70,000 students. The big universities in Florida aren't Miami or Florida State or the University of Florida anymore. It's Central Florida and South Florida as far as enrollment, like Ohio State like enrollment, like 70,000 students.
Now, I don't know if UNO should be 70,000 students, but UNO should be big, like 40, 50,000 students. UNO should be going all over the country, all over the world for students. You are selling the city of New Orleans. It's the University of New Orleans, for crying out loud. That alone, by default, should bring in an extra 10,000 plus students. You actually get aggressive, market it, go get these students, go get these professors, grow the university. No, it shouldn't be just a commuter school when it peaked out 20 years ago with nearly 18,000 students. Last semester, a little bit over 6,000. Like 35% of what it was 20 years ago in enrollment. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And it indirectly, UNO's failure indirectly hurts like Suno, Xavier, Dillard. Because of instead of them building facilities on their campuses, and they've built facilities on their campuses, don't get me wrong, but instead of more facilities, more classrooms, more dorms, they're using UNOs because UNO is built for 18,000 students and they're down to 6,000. No, it's wrong. The city of New Orleans, the council, the mayor, should embrace it. There needs to be leadership that takes UNO, in terms of students, where it is a huge economic engine, where it is crowded and congested out on the lakefront. Sorry, but if you live like in Lake Vista, Lake Terrace, Lake Oaks, you live in Gentilly, you want it to be congested out there from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday by UNO. You want that economic engine. No, it used to be that way in the morning. Wisner to Allen Tucson to Leon C. Simon by Paris Avenue, Elysian Fields. It's crowded. It was congested. Traffic at the traffic lights. Not so much anymore. No, UNO should be a monster, a juggernaut. The University of New Orleans. And instead, it's floundering. It's failing. It's unacceptable. Super Bowl 59, 24 days away, 3 weeks from this Sunday. Superdome, 50 years old. What, this August? It's crunch time. The 2-minute warning. About $600 million in new money into the dome the last 4 or 5 years. Getting ready for the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right. Best. Speaking of countdowns, Monday, Biden out, Trump in. Inauguration day this Monday. Joe Biden's one term done. Donald Trump, the 45th president, about to become the 47th president. The movers, by the way, at the White House, I don't know if you knew this one, Miss Peaches, 6 hours to get the Biden family out and all their stuff and get the Trump family and all their stuff in. 6-hour turnaround. So like literally Jill Biden and the First Lady and Joe Biden sleep in the White House Sunday night. And Monday night, Melania and Donald Trump sleep in the White House. In the Lincoln bedroom or wherever bedroom they sleep in. I guess the Lincoln bedroom's for guests. The presidential bedroom. Isn't that crazy? 6 hours to get all their stuff out, 6 hours to get all the Trump stuff in. I mean, must be hundreds of people, just all security checked, all legitimate, beeline and in and out of the White House, loading up the moving vans. Speaking of Biden out, Trump in, Inauguration Day, Ellis Henican joined us last hour. You can always check that stuff out after the fact on YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check it out on Twitter, at Corey Johnson on Twitter. Ellis Henican joined us last hour, left-leaning Ellis Henican. We usually have Ellis and Quin Hillyer, right-leaning Quin together, Hillyer and Henican, but Ellis couldn't do the 5 o'clock hour, only the 4 o'clock. Quin couldn't do the 4 o'clock, only the 5 o'clock, so I separated them. Ellis joined us in the 4 o'clock hour. Coming up in less than 5 minutes, right-leaning Quin Hillyer joins us on the program. Hey, speaking of the 5 o'clock powwow, it's brought to you by Trey Yen in Mandeville. Are you on the causeway right now? It's Thursday. Thursday night, fire in a to-go order. Be the hero when you walk in the door in Mandeville, Covington, Madisonville, wherever, Lacombe, Folsom, Bush. Be the hero walking in the door. You bring it right out to your car. Don't forget the Tong Cho sauce. And yeah, of course, dining at Trey Yen. Trey Yen's incredible. I mean, if they built that restaurant, that building, it probably sits on 2 acres. I mean, you could film like a Kill Bill movie there. The koi ponds out front. Maybe like $4, $5, $6 million build. I'm telling you, it's a facility. Trey Yen. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine. At the foot of the causeway in Mandeville. You South Shore folks, don't let the lake scare you. 25 short minutes door to door from Lakeside Mall to Chinese cuisine heaven. Trey Yen in Mandeville. Quin Hillyer is next. Don't move.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Have you been to the new Tracy's magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time for teams, make it Tracy's. On Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana, legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TF-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TF-AC.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen, Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxon, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, found and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do an autos. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Producing tomorrow's talk radio today, Corey Johnson.
This is tomorrow's newspaper. Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens.
Your View, Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. And live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
Future. Unbelievable.
Boy, I was noticing my oak tree I planted a few years ago, taller than the roof of my house now. And we had a lot of rain last night. Not a single leaf from that oak tree in my gutters because Audubon Gutters installed new gutters in early October at my house. And those new gutters feature the Leaf Guard system. I'll literally never have to ever worry about cleaning my gutters again. Not that I was getting on the ladder, but I don't have to hire someone to do it. The Gulf South's largest, most experienced gutter installation company. Why would you even consider going with anyone else for your home or business? AudubonGutters.com since 1991. AudubonGutters.com. Thursday afternoon edition of the program, 5 o'clock Power Hour. In case you missed the 4 o'clock hour, Ellis Henican joined us for a few minutes. He was only available in the 4 o'clock hour, not the 5 o'clock. Quin Hillyer joins us now. He was only available in the 5 o'clock, not the separate you guys. You're punished, Quinn. Go into the corner of the other room.
Sorry about that, Corey. Will you forgive me?
Just this time, Quinn. Next time, all bets are off.
Okay.
No, I always appreciate you joining us. I don't even mind having you guys separate, but I love having you together because y'all are diametrically opposed on about 90% of things. But never yelling, always getting along, thoughtful, intelligent conversation. I love it. And I learn something every time from you guys.
Well, I'm not sure if you're learning the right things if you're learning from us, but I appreciate the kind words.
All right. Well, it's not just me. Folks like the Times-Picayune, the local newspaper, believe in Quin Hillyer. Quinn, you've been doing like a editorial on Sundays for a few years now. And you've been working for the Washington Examiner for many, many years. That was your full-time gig. Now what? You're saying adios to the Washington Examiner and the full-time gig for Quin Hillyer is with the Times-Picayune. Is that right?
Yes, apparently you can go home again. I am returning to my roots. My first job, professional job in journalism was 40 years ago this year as a intern sports writer at the Times-Picayune, and I am now returning to the Advocate / Times-Picayune newspapers full time starting next Tuesday. I'll be on the editorial board. I'll be writing some columns and some editorials and doing some editing and just whatever they want me to do. But I've left the Washington Examiner behind, and that means that, well, I'm sure I'll be writing on some national politics. It'll be more on state than on national, and also I'll be doing at least somewhat more culture than I have been in less politics, and all of that is very, very good, and I'm delighted to be back as of next Tuesday, starting at the Times-Picayune / Advocate again.
No, I'm fired up for you, Quinn. Fired up as someone in the city that our newspaper's getting a quality guy like you, experienced, smart, great writer. You get it. And then the gravy, the lagniappe. This paper so desperately needs a conservative voice. So does this city.
Well, I'm going to try to provide one. And as you know, I am and have been a very public conservative, somewhat, on national level for decades. But I am also not a party guy. I don't pick a side and then find the facts just to support my side. What I do is I find the facts first and then try to build my opinion around it. So sometimes that means conservatives don't like what I say if I don't think the facts go there. But my principles are conservative, and I'm going to try to put those for the state of Louisiana and the city of New Orleans.
Quin, you went to Georgetown. You worked in D.C. for years up on the Beltway. You know the ins and outs of that. Married a Southern girl from Mobile, Alabama. Ended up going to Mobile. You've been there for years. There's an interesting dynamic going on. Mobile, Alabama, Southern city, majority black city, a white conservative mayor. Baton Rouge, majority black, Southern city, just elected a white conservative mayor that beat the black Democrat female incumbent. Look, I don't think Republican's better than Democrat or Democrat better than Republic. I think it's ebb and flow, and one's hot, one's not. Sometimes they're both ineffective. Sometimes they're both effective, whatever. But this is an interesting dynamic. Essentially, you have a lot of black people. We've seen it in the Trump election. 1 out of 4 black men voting for Trump. 1 out of 4 black men voting for Trump. A lot of black folks in general. Democratic Party doesn't own me. We don't all think the same as this black race. And a lot of folks shifting over, voting Republican, giving the Republicans a chance after frustration with the Democrats and not enough positive movement for them would be my guess. What's your take?
Well, my take is it's about time that people stop voting according to race and start voting according to principles and competence and integrity. And I think it's wonderful if a black mayor gets elected in a white majority city, and if a white mayor gets elected in a black majority city, and if, I don't think that should matter. What the race should matter. What should matter is the person and the person's skills and capabilities and agenda. And so I think this is great that this is happening in either direction. And we've had a great time with our mayor for the last 12 years. As a matter of fact, in Mobile, we've already been proving it, because for 2 times in a row, while Mobile was still majority white, it elected a black Democrat mayor. Now, for 3 times in a row, after Mobile went majority black, it elected this white conservative mayor. So Mobile is proving that race doesn't matter.
Yep.
And we've had a great time with it. Mobile has done very well. And I think New Orleans, with its mayor's race coming up, needs to think about, how do we get past race and go to competence, go to integrity, go to demonstrated ability to put the citizens of New Orleans first.
Yeah, you can take race and politics in general and just amplify them. In New Orleans and Louisiana, hard to get folks off of Republican and Democrat, and you're so right, Quin. Hard to get folks off of white and black. Mobile, you got to be reelecting that guy. 12 years. I mean, Austell, the shipbuilder, Boeing, aircraft manufacturer, the steel mill, the second, the interstate loop, the bridge, the north, bridge up I-65 across the Mobile River, kind of completing an interstate loop type of thing. Now you're getting a bridge over the Mobile River at I-10. You're getting a new Jubilee Parkway to the Eastern Shore, about $3 billion coming. Mobile's going to blow up, is going to explode. It's already taken off like a rocket ship. When that new bridge and causeway to the Eastern Shore are completed, I mean, the sky's the limit for Mobile, Quin.
The sky is the limit, but also they're in the process of moving the airport from a very bad location where it's been for decades to one much more convenient to downtown and to
a brand new airport built from the ground up.
Yep, coming online.
Wow, brilliant.
And something good for both New Orleans and Mobile. We're about to get train service between the two.
Yep.
That's going to start up sometime, I think, this year.
Yeah, soon.
So, lots of examples of what can go right. And let me tell you, I might live in Mobile, but I'm in New Orleans right now as we speak, and I'm going to be in New Orleans a lot more often with this new job. And New Orleans has a lot more naturally to offer than Mobile does. This is still the greatest city in the world because it's got the best, nicest, friendliest people, the most interesting people. It's got the food, it's got the culture, it's got the music, it's got everything going for it. All it needs is the right civic and
architecture, European masterpiece. No, that's all it needs. That's all it needs. Quin Hillyer's with us. He got a new gig. He's with the Times-Picayune. Quin, you mentioned it. What, more editorials, more than once a week, and then even some columns, some like reporting, and a lot of editing.
Yeah, I mean, so what's been going on for the last 2.5 years or so is the Louisiana papers have been running me once a week every Sunday, about 3 times a month. They just took a column, a personal column that I had already written for the Washington Examiner, and they ran it locally. About once a month, I would write a special Louisiana only one that was just for them, and they would run that. Now I'm coming full time, so I'll be writing personal columns. I'll be writing some of those unsigned editorials. I'll be editing some outside submissions. I'll be doing whatever they want me to do, but I will be writing more for them, and I'll be editing, and I'll be much more engaged in what's going on in Louisiana, again, on a full-time basis. And I just think it's wonderful. Of course, also, after I wrote sports for I was managing editor of Gambit for 2 weeks, and now Gambit's part of the Advocate Picayune ownership group. And so it's just like I'm coming full circle. I'm coming home.
I love it.
To the people and place that I love.
Yep. Hey, Quin, we're coming right back. Don't move, New Orleans.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com. Your cool spot. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce. The economic moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 120 has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in hand. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jen and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard. On Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King. Hey, New Orleans. If you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast on the streetcar line. Built in 1893. Your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Tracy's on Magazine. There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's. On Magazine at Louisiana, legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of the Woodhouse Day Spa. Woodhouse Spas.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Some ridiculously cold weather coming our way next week. You got to have that heat working right. If your heat isn't working right, making a funny noise, or worse, not working at all. Fair and honest Lucas and the boys at Total Maintenance are there for you. If you need air conditioning or heat help, you're going to need the heat working great next week. Total Maintenance is there for you. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. In New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. TM-AC.com. If you need heat help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. TM-AC.com. Quin Hillyer is with us, right-leaning Quin Hillyer. You can check him out on his website, Quin with one N. Hillyer spelled Hillyer, QuinHillyer.com. Hey, Quin, Monday's a big day. The peaceful transition of power is something that's expected in America. You don't get a pat on the back or a gold star for doing that, so at least we're doing it right. But is it a good day or a bad day for the country? And is that even a fair question?
It's a fair question. Depends on what your view of Donald Trump is, what your view of Joe Biden is. I think, in my view, we're going from bad to bad. So I'm not terribly excited, but I do think it is a good thing that, unlike 4 years ago, we are going from one to another without somebody falsely challenging the transition, threatening to not go through with it, and all the stuff that we saw 4 years ago. This time, it's going to be back in the American tradition of a peaceful, unchallenged transition, and so maybe that will get us off on a good start again.
You mentioned bad, maybe more specific, expecting out of the Trump presidency.
Well, it depends on whether the Senate does its job. And I'm talking to John Kennedy, and I'm talking to Bill Cassidy right here. And I'm talking to every senator, but I want every listener to tell Bill Cassidy and tell John Kennedy that they need to do their job. Their job is not to do whatever Trump asks. Their job is to exercise independent judgment on all of these nominees and actually ask whether they are qualified, whether they are competent, whether they are have the integrity and the personal character to do the job for which they were nominated for. And there are at least 4, and I would say more like 8 or 10 of these top nominees that absolutely are not. They're absolutely affronts to the that they were ever nominated. And Cassidy and Kennedy need them. And for at least some of them, they need to say, you know what? I don't care if the president is putting all sorts of pressure on me. I'm going to do what's right, and I'm going to vote no.
You mentioned at least 10 that aren't qualified at all. Well, name just 2 or 3 that jump out at you that, worry you, that are clearly not qualified.
RFK Jr. has no business being anywhere near head of Health and Human Services. Kash Patel has no business being head of the FBI. We have Pete Hegseth should not the Department of Defense, and who's the fourth one of the? Oh yeah, and Tulsi Gabbard might as well be a Russian asset. I don't know why she's going to be head of national intelligence. I could go on. I've written a column about Pam Bondi and some very questionable activities in her past. She's up for Attorney General. I mean, this is at the top levels. There are a lot of bad choices. At the mid levels, at the deputy secretary ranks, Trump is picking a lot of really good people. But these top, especially at the most prominent departments, we got to worry about some of them.
Now, Quinn, isn't it sort of a catch-22 what you're saying in a way? Like these people individually, as you're describing them, let's say you're right on the money and you're dead accurate. Does that really matter? Because they're not going to be pushing their agenda. They're simply going to be yes people to Trump. And if there was someone that was more, I guess, desirable for those roles, wouldn't they still be yes people to Trump? Or you're hoping at least those people would be able to influence the president from kind of a fair and objective standpoint?
Well, it's not just being a yes person on policy. It actually takes some skill to run a big federal department. It takes some knowledge. It takes some experience. And these people, in a lot of cases, don't have it, or else they have the wrong experience. So, yes, Trump could. The thing is, Trump could find people that would agree with his policies. There are dozens and dozens of people out there that would agree with his policies that are more qualified, more competent, and more experienced at what they need to have learned and done to enable them to run these departments. And that's even before you get to their major defects, which actually might get in the way of them running these departments. And I could go into specifics, but the general idea is, it's the reason you don't just have one man running everything is because there's actually some work to be done that he can't sign every check at the Pentagon. He can't talk to every general every single day. I mean, you have deputies and you have cabinet secretaries because there are actually jobs to do, and he's picking people that can't do the jobs.
Conservative Quin Hillyer is with us. You can check out all his stuff online, quinhillyer.com. Corey Johnson with you, 5 o'clock Power Hour on a Thursday, brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. They've only been at it in New Orleans, baking that French bread you love, since 1896. Leidenheimer French bread, good to the last crumb. The French bread of New Orleans. 5 o'clock Power Hour this afternoon, brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Hey, Quinn, by default, like Donald Trump or not, I'm trying to find a silver lining for the folks that don't like him. Don't we need to shake things up a little bit, make some changes? It's hard for the status quo to make significant changes. This guy's going to make changes, right?
Yeah, but it's a question of what changes, how you make the changes, whether you make the changes in a way that actually works. For instance, this Department of Government Efficiency stuff with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I've written their goals are, or at least a lot of the goals, sound really good. The problem is, if you read the piece that they wrote in the Wall Street Journal about how they plan to go about it, it's pushing the legal boundaries and the constitutional boundaries probably well beyond the breaking point. And if they go about it the way that they say they want to, instead of being able to actually achieve governmental efficiency, they're going to be tied up in the courts for probably the entire Trump presidency, trying to fight off court fights against what they're doing. there are other ways to achieve government efficiency than with a meat cleaver, and other ways to do it without ignoring the existing laws and existing court precedents and ignoring the Constitution. So, again, yes, you need to shake things up, but you got to know how to. I don't think these guys know how to.
Quin Hillyer's with us. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday afternoon. Hey, Quinn, a lot of the stuff Trump says, I call it Trump talk, kind of BS. It's like, we're going to build a wall, Mexico's going to pay for it. They're not going to deport illegal aliens, and not by any significant numbers that are going to change anything. I don't think the economy would stand for it. I don't think logistically it's possible. I think it would cost too much to do it. The economy would be too affected by it. There's a lot of Trump talk out there. What do you think he's actually going to try to do while he's in office over the next 4 years that is realistic, that he could possibly do?
Actually, I think the one example you gave is one that he can do. I don't think he can deport 15 million illegals, but I think he can deport hundreds of thousands of illegals and stop the major flow of illegals coming in. I think he can, and I think he will. And to my mind, that's a good thing because, I want more legal immigrants in the country. I do not want anybody in the country that is illegal. And there are ways to go about it. Now, if people look at his record, you mentioned wall and making Mexico pay for it. He built less wall than was already scheduled to be built in his administration. He got less money for the wall out of Congress than the Democrats had previously offered. He all of his bluster acts in the way often of accomplishing what he says he's going to do. And so, a lot of other things other than deportations, he's going to have a hard time doing. Can he deport a couple of 100,000 over 4 years? Yes, he can by just enforcing the existing law with the people that they have kept track of. I mean, there are 14 million of them that they'll never find, but they do know where about 1 million of them are, and they're still well within the system, and you can slowly force them out.
Yep. Quin Hillyer's with us. Quinn, one more quick break. We're coming right back. Think about this one. What is Biden's legacy? And what did Joe Biden do right? And what did Joe Biden do wrong? We'll get an answer from you in a couple of minutes. Quin Hillier's with us. Don't move, New Orleans. Coming right back.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAIT.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-65 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Other have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building. Literally dozens and dozens of flat screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the garden.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. One of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans for 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Welcome back, Crescent City. Corey Johnson with you. Quin Hillyer is with us as well. You can check out what Quin does online, quinhillyer.com. Quin, what is Biden's legacy? And did he do anything right? And what did he do wrong?
He did 2 things partially right. He, first of all, when Hamas attacked Israel, he immediately sent American warships to the Eastern Mediterranean in a show of support to Israel to make sure that no other Arab or Islamic country thought that, okay, now's the time to make this a wider war. That was really good. And he has provided somewhat of the support needed for Israel since then, although he's also done a lot to undermine Israel. But his immediate reaction was really good. Likewise, in Ukraine, he's always been a day late and a dollar short, but at least he has given strong verbal support to Ukraine and has given reasonable military and humanitarian assistance. Again, he's sort of foot dragged on it in ways that have hurt, but at least he has been there. And Ukraine and Israel are both still standing. And that's in part because of Joe Biden, and that's a good thing. And anybody out there right now that says, we shouldn't care between Putin and Ukraine, you need to examine your moral conscience, because there is a vast difference between those two. So anything else that he's done well? I've had a hard time thinking during this break of anything else that I approve of that Joe Biden has done.
What about a couple? What about a couple that are equally as bad to the 2 good ones that you mentioned, in your opinion?
Well, the first thing that he did, the first big legislative push he made, was that incredibly, insanely massive spending program that he billed as COVID relief, even though we'd already done 2 big tranches of COVID relief under Trump. Everybody that had any sense said we didn't need the new big one that he pushed through. He's actually now since pushed through 2 spending things. But that caused inflation that for about 2 years really devastated a lot of people's home economies. Home, at the home front where they live, it really hurt. Yep. And there was no excuse for it. Even liberal economists told them not to do it. And the second thing is he has pushed a lot of those that are unnecessary. I mean, you don't need the federal government to come in and start changing the rules and even threatening lawsuits to force schools to accept biological males into women's or girls' bathrooms or women's or girls' sports, et cetera, et cetera. Society can be urged to do all sorts of things that show tolerance without government jumping in and forcing people to do something that is anathema to them. He's done a lot of that. If I had time, I could list all of the crazy things that he's done with the force of government trying to force people through the Justice Department, through the Education Department. Not even on these cultural issues, but on issue after issue after issue, he's pushed the most left-wing nostrums, and it's divisive and it's not right.
Israel, Hamas, ceasefire announced. Russia, Ukraine continues. Monday, Donald Trump becomes president. What happens in Israel and in Ukraine?
Well, Israel will probably do better under Trump than it did under Biden. Ukraine, unfortunately, could do much worse. Trump keeps giving moral support to Putin. J.D. Vance, even worse, might as well be a Putin stooge. He is so on Putin's side that it's disgusting. And so I'm really worried about what Ukraine does when the Trump administration is not on their side.
What's the logic with this fascination with Russia and Putin? How do they justify this?
Morally, ethically twisted reasoning. Look, Trump admires anybody that he thinks is tough, so that's why he admires Putin. He also knows that Putin and the Russians did help him get elected in 2016 at the margins. Now, there's a difference between Trump actively colluded with them. No, he didn't. But did Russia help him? It is absolutely proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that Russia was on his side, and at the margins, it helped him, and he appreciates that. So that's part of what's going into that.
Hey, Quinn, the Supreme Court may decide the TikTok ban tomorrow. I'm not on TikTok. I mean, I guess I'm not fair and objective about it because I don't really care if it exists or not. I don't like the China ownership thing,
Well, if the Supreme Court blocks it, I don't know what the heck the Supreme Court is thinking. I mean, if the Supreme Court blocks the block right now, as of the 19th, TikTok will not be able to operate in America under Chinese ownership. That law is a perfectly reasonable, valid, and constitutional law, and the Supreme Court should not stop that law from going into effect.
No, especially China's reputation. I mean, you can screw up drywall, sheetrock, that says it all. It's like messing up a cinder block. How do you possibly do that? China figured out a way. So, yeah, can't be trusted. Quinn, always a pleasure.
Hey, thanks for letting me spout off so much. I've probably filibustered a little bit here, but thanks for having me on. Thanks to your listeners. And again, I'm delighted that as of Tuesday, I'm going to be back working full-time for Louisiana papers.
No, I love it. With the Advocate and the Times-Picayune. Quin Hillyer, again, thank you, brother.
Thanks a lot.
QuinHillyer.com is the website. That's Blue Boy barking up a storm. That's what he likes to do. I'll see you tomorrow, straight up 4 o'clock. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Be there.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.